Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Munir Fuadi bin Muhammad Arfino, metric number 2227303, and today for my seminar presentation, we'll be looking at discourse and Islam. So before we get into things, I'd like to touch more on discourse and Islam in the modern context. So in the modern context right now, much of the discourse that's being produced regarding Islam is more towards Islamophobia or hate speech, and this could be due to the 9/11 attacks in New York City in 2001. So regarding this, much of the discourse has actually been targeting Islam as others. They're not part of the main population. So for today, we'll be looking at a paper titled The Demonization of Islam Through Social Media, a case study of hashtag Stop Islam in Instagram. And the authors being Sabina Sevilla, Luis Romero Rodriguez, and Amparo Sevilla, publicated in 2020 by Publications Volume 8, Issue 4, article number 52, consisting of 19 pages. So as we go into the introduction, social media can shape public perceptions of Islam, recalling what I said earlier regarding the modern context and the discourse regarding Islam. All of the hate speech that has been widespread has kind of convinced many that weren't actually into the discourse to kind of buy into that same perception. And besides that, hashtag Stop Islam is a hashtag used to spread hate speech and misinformation, and in this paper, primarily on Instagram. So besides that, this study explores how Muslims are framed as the other meaning that they are not part of the population. So let's say in Spain, where this study was conducted, they're regarding the Muslims, even though there is a significant population, they are not considered as locals. And the focus of the study is to show that Instagram is a space for Islamophobic discourse. As we look at the research objectives and the research questions, the main research objective is to examine how demonization is used as a weapon of oppression to devalue specific individuals through the hashtag Stop Islam and Instagram's role in this process. Besides that, let's go to the research questions. The first one being, how does Instagram promote Islamophobic hate? The second being, how are Muslims demonized through Stop Islam discourse? And lastly, what are the social consequences of this discourse? So looking at the literature review, demonization could be defined as reducing others to threats using negative labels. And Islamophobia, however, is the hate or discrimination based on the religion, this being Islam. And this study actually takes into consideration government's theory of impaired identity and social stigma, which could be paraphrased as us versus them, meaning that the majority of people that consider Islam as negative view the Islamic people, view the Muslims as not one of them, meaning that all of their appearances, be it wearing the hijab or the language that they speak, considers them to be totally different from the locals. Moving on, social media, in this instance Instagram, enables symbolic violence and misinformation, and hate speech is legitimized through repetition, memes, and algorithmic spread, which we'll be looking at next. So for the research design of this study, the researchers conducted a mixed method design, where they used both quantitative and qualitative research designs. So for the qualitative aspect, 474 Instagram posts under the hashtag Stop Islam were categorized using the 5 walls of Islamophobic hate derived from Imran Awan. And afterwards, they would use SPSS to categorize this data. So as I explain more about the 5 walls of Islamophobic hate, we can see it's categorized into these 5 pillars, which are Muslims are terrorists, Muslims are rapists, Muslim women are a security threat, a war between Muslims, and Muslims should be deported. And from this, we can see all of the 474 Instagram posts be categorized under each one. For example, these 2 pictures are actual posts that in Instagram under the hashtag Stop Islam, which were categorized under Muslims are terrorists. So as we look at the results, we could see that 62.9% 98% of all of the posts that were analyzed could be categorized under the pillar of war between Muslims, whereas 17.3% were for Muslims are terrorists, 12.4% for Muslims should be deported, 7.6% under Muslims as rapists, and finally 1.2% under Muslim women are security threats. So from the findings, we could see that Instagram, a famous social media platform, allows hate speech as long as it's under the guise of free expression, and that its algorithms help spreads these posts with negative engagement, meaning that if the hashtag Stop Islam gained a following or popularity among the public, more and more people would see these posts and it would reach a larger audience, and that this hashtag was used to justify racism, Islamophobia, and misinformation, meaning that if any random person actually stumbled upon any of these posts without prior knowledge regarding Islam or the Islamophobic hate in general, they could be misinformed and tend to believe these negative perceptions on Islam as a religion. Besides that, right-wing and nationalist groups actually exploit these platforms through the use of these hashtags as well, spreading misinformation regarding their own negative perceptions towards Islam, and that little moderation from Instagram is actually given to such posts because they prioritize free expression, meaning that they want to make sure that all of their users can practice their freedom of speech regardless of any topic. So in conclusion, Instagram discourse under the hashtag #StopIslam promotes symbolic violence. Even if Instagram wants to categorize it as freedom of speech or freedom of expression, it puts detrimental effects on the Muslim community where they are framed as dangerous outsiders, and that maybe all of their actions have to be monitored because the public are skeptical regarding their actions and the reasoning behind them. So what this does is it contributes to real-world racism, fear, and exclusion. Due to the skepticism regarding Muslims, people might want to exclude them, where maybe the kids in school might be looked at differently from their peers, or in the office space, where colleagues might actually not want to engage as much with their Muslim colleagues. So what we need to learn from this study is that there is a need for media literacy, and responsible journalism should be practiced with stricter moderation, meaning that not everything could be categorized under freedom of speech. There has to be a limit somewhere. And last but not least, social media platforms such as Instagram have to prevent their sites to be used as tools for hate, meaning that the freedom of speech guise has to be filtered. Instagram cannot let this happen, be it for Islamophobia or for any other conflict. So with that being said, that is all for my seminar presentation today. Thank you for listening.